Hi there. Welcome to this yoga foundational video for the yoga pose Gomukhasana or cow face pose. Now, if you're someone that sits at a desk, has a desk job, or spends a lot of time uh, doing anything where your shoulders may be hunched, this is an excellent pose for you to counteract that posture that we sometimes have to sit in if we work 8 hours a day. So Gomukhasana or cow face pose stretches the shoulders and externally rotates the hips for a nice stretch in the outer hips and the glutes. So let's go ahead and get into cow face pose. So for cow face pose, one knee will stack over the other. So go ahead and bring one knee in and place that other foot across and over to stack the knees out in front of you. Now, this might be a difficult pose right away. You can feel that stretch. If you have your right knee over the left, you'll feel a stretch in your right glute, right outer hip. Your ankles are also getting a nice little stretch. They're just sitting in like a stretched position here. So if this is a little bit difficult for you, one thing that you can do to help as you go along and learn this pose is to sit up on a block. If you sit up on a block, you'll bring those knees a little lower, and it does lessen that stretch a little. So you might want to do that. Now, don't go too far forward where you're swaying the back too much. Remember, we're looking for also a neutral spine with the knees stacked. So you can go ahead and use a block or a stack of books to sit on if that helps this pose for you. So once we have our knees stacked and our feet, the outer ankles placed on the floor with our sit bones equally pressing into the mat, we'll bring our attention then to the spine. The spine should be pretty neutral. So what I mean by that is you're going to make sure that your head is over your heart, your heart is over your pelvis. Now your abdomen should be a little engaged so that you're not just dumping into this. You're activating this upper body to keep yourself in a neutral-ish spine. And the reason that I say neutral-ish is because with Gomukhasana, of course, we're going to be stretching the shoulders. And with this stretch, you might have a very slight back bend, and that's perfectly fine. So for Gomukhasana cow face arms, what we'll do is look down at your knees. Whichever knee is on top, that is the opposite elbow that you will reach up to the opposite arm that you will reach up to the ceiling. In my case, it's my left. So I'm reaching up to the ceiling, and then I'm going to bring that arm down to pat the back of my neck or my upper middle back. So there's one arm. The other arm, I'll reach straight out, turning that palm down, bringing into the back and up to clasp those hands together. Now, this is a very deep stretch for the shoulders and maybe isn't accessible. And one side is always better than the other. So let's go ahead and release those arms and bring it to the other side and try it there. So unwind your legs, stack the opposite knee on top, ground those sit bones down into the earth. Feel the stretch in those outer hips. And for this, of course, we've got our other leg on top. For me, it's my left. So my right arm will be reaching up. So my right arm will reach up and back, my up and down to pat the top of my back. My other arm will reach out, thumb down, and back to reach those fingers, to clasp those fingers together for Gomukhasana arms. Now, when you're in this position, your back will probably be a little bit swayed, but not a lot. You want to still pull those belly muscles in. The top elbow should be hugged in and up as well. The bottom elbow will be pulling in and down. Gomukhasana arms. Now I'm going to turn around and show those arms to you from the back. So when I'm getting into my arm position here, I'll reach my arm up, pat the top of my back with the upper arm. The other arm reaches out, thumb down and in to reach those fingers and clasp, bringing those elbows in opposite directions and in. Now, if this is very, very hard, now for me, I'm unable to do that on the opposite side. So let me switch to the other side again. Opposite knee on top. Left arm up this time. Right arm back. And you can see I'm not even close. That's okay. Our bodies are our bodies, and that is why we have modifications. So if that is the case for you, you can go ahead and take a yoga strap or a towel or a rope, whatever you have handy, and you can go ahead and bring that arm up, other arm back, grab that strap, pull it to where it feels comfortable for you, and bring those elbows in like so. That is your arm variation modification to make this pose more accessible for you, if that's the hand position you're going for. So, in Gomukhasana, our knees are stacked one on top of another. You can sit up on a block or a book or a blanket, whatever helps you in this position. If your knees are not touching, they're having a hard time, one modification is that you can start out with one leg forward, the other leg on top, stacking those knees. You can start out in this position. This is a modified Gomukhasana leg position. Once you have your leg position settled, your sit bones are grounding equally down into the mat. Your spine is as neutral as possible, so your head is over your heart is over your pelvis, your belly is hugged in, your chest is up. Now, another arm variation for this pose would be eagle arms. So you look down at your knee again. In my case, my right knee is on top. So it will be the opposite for my arms. My right arm will be under my left for eagle arms. We'll bring our arms together, crossing over and binding once or twice for eagle arms. In this position, we're reaching our elbows up and hands forward. Eagle. There you go. So once you are familiar with this pose and it's feeling pretty good, it shouldn't hurt. Now, if this hurts, this might not be a great pose for you. If you have any shoulder injuries, of course, or even old shoulder injuries like I have, one side might be harder than the other, and always modify for your own personal body. And sometimes our bodies are just built different and we are unable to do these poses, but just make it work for you however that is. Don't compromise your body just to get into a shape. That is never what is a good idea. So for me, in this Gomukhasana legs pose, sometimes I like to keep the spine straight, walk the fingers out in front of me, bringing the belly down to the thighs. Now, this intensifies the stretch in the outer hips. So you might want to try that. Trying to avoid the rounding hip or I mean the rounding lower back, keeping that lower back straight, bringing the belly and chest, belly to the thighs, chest to the knees. And maybe if it feels good, letting your head hang. And there it is, Gomukhasana, cow face pose. Thanks for joining me. See you next time.